We ran out of LLM jokes, but perhaps you can do a recap of what Gary Marcus said, because it's a really nice intro into the last part.
Yeah, it was a very interesting conversation. I actually never spoke to him before. We just connected on Twitter and kind of resonated with each other. So I invited him to join, and he was happy to, because he liked what OriginTrail is about, and because ultimately we converge on the same set of problems and the approach towards how to solve those problems. So Gary's, as you've seen, a big proponent of neurosymbolic AI. We heard about that many times before. Ben Goertzel as well, speaking about it, famous for even coining the term AGI. So a lot of people see that direction. Jan LeCun also. And yeah, I actually agree with him in terms of surveillance capitalism taking over OpenAI. Like, I don't know if you guys agree, but it absolutely is the business model. It's really a chase for who can get more data and more chips to like squeeze that data in and train a model that ultimately is questionable of not just how well it performs, like what it ends up doing. And I actually didn't manage to say it, but there was a recent research that found that if you compare how convincing tweets are generated by AI versus generated by people on the web, the AI-generated tweets are 3% more convincing. It's not a big percentage, but they just started, right? So what happens when they're more convincing and less trustworthy, as they can just blurb out like anything we did blurb out today. And I love that LLM exercise, by the way. That's literally how they work. Because what we did is everybody was saying a word, but you weren't just saying it randomly. You were listening to what, you're paying attention. It's exactly what they do. They're paying attention to what was previously there. But like, this is not how you would have AI fly a plane, for sure, right?
And there is also one, I spoke with John shortly before we jumped on stage, and he also, again, pointed out that AI is like, guns. Guns by itself, they don't kill people. You need people to, use those guns in order to create harm. And I think it also resonates with another aspect of where AI can, as a tool in the wrong hands, can really create a lot of damage. Or as a tool, it can also help some people obfuscate accountability.
Yes.
Even countries. I mean, nowadays you have huge defense budgets formed for defense purpose AI systems, which help select targets. And in this way, military decision makers actually obfuscate accountability, saying that it was AI that determined the target.
AI.
So that's a huge problem. And you have some of the biggest centralized companies, most successful ones that actually, not going to name them, but if you go to one of the most successful ones, the first use case you're going to see is AI for defense. So AI basically to kill people. And that's the way, actually humanity has not caught up, or is not catching up yet, even in terms of the development of criminal law, to actually, be able to prevent such misuses of artificial intelligence. So it's a tricky topic still. But please go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to.
No, it's a great segue into the conversation, and because what we will be talking about here is actually a counter to that, and something that has to be that the best way to coin to name it is collective neurosymbolic AI. This is really what OriginTrail is about. So we're talking all day about the synergy of different technologies. OriginTrail synergizes knowledge graphs, blockchains, and neural AI in a good way. And I'm sure you've seen something like this on the web. It's kind of funny at the beginning, right? So you know that this was not really Pope, right? He didn't wear this jacket. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you think it was. Anyway, it looks very convincing, right? And it becomes very tricky when this becomes a video, and this becomes a video of you somebody made, and then this becomes a defense problem or an attack problem, and we really need to kind of go back to this power to the people approach if we're ever gonna take on this hugely powerful technology. I loved what Gary recently said. Again, going back to him, he said LLMs are brilliantly stupid. and that the next wave of AI obviously is not going to be driven by them. We're reaching a plateau. So with more data comes less progress, and also more data is generally, again, produced by LLMs, so that it actually can deteriorate. I've read the report of engineers of X, formerly Twitter, that they had to filter out a ton of data because they realized that it was actually AI generated, and they were literally witnessing model collapse when they were training Grok. Another quote we like is quote by the opener of the conference, Professor Dr. Bob Metcalf, who basically sees the DKG as the evolving tool for finding truth in knowledge. And he's actually so interested into he's very enthusiastic about the technology. We've been going to certain conferences together for many years because he wants to learn. And I know he met some of you at the Knowledge Graph conference in New York, and it's incredible to see somebody like him, who was a pioneer, who you might want to think like he would be tired by now. He's been building so much and like taking people's bullshit, and now, but he's still there, in his like late age. He's trying to make an impact on the world, and we're super lucky to have him contribute his experience and energy with us, which, a bunch of random Eastern Europeans met him over there in the US.
Yeah, plus the guy has more hair than us three combined.
Yeah, true. He's doing something right.
Yeah.
He's doing something right.
You should ask which shampoo he's using.
yeah, I should try it. So what we've been talking about today is really this synergy, this collective neurosymbolic AI. We have, on one side, we have LLMs being very creative, very interesting if you're asking it to write a poem, generate a fun video, some cool videos we've seen today as well. They actually have they have a purpose. We're not saying they're all bad, but without combining them with facts, which is really that rational part of the brain, it's going to be really hard to progress with something that is useful or even not harmful, if I would say. So we really see this as kind of a convergence very similar to the human brain, where on one side we have facts that focus on knowledge representation techniques, logical reasoning, so things like math, for example, where you can take a couple of theorems and figure out a new finding, proving them based on the existing knowledge, or physics or similar type of reasoning, really rule-based inferencing, so opposite from sort of guessing the next word, so you make it funny for the audience, which also has its place. So creativity world without creativity is not a world I would love to live in. So creativity is the one that's generative, that is very good at statistical predictions, and also at natural interactions. Really what LLMs have brought is a new AI, new UI. I like to say that AI is the new UI. Because you're going to be chatting with some machine, you're going to be talking with it, you're going to be uploading videos with it, but like what happens under the hood should not be the same natural language type of data processing that governs it. And who've been in the Web3 space, especially for a while, we know how hard it is to implement something to work according to certain rule set, such as implementing a token, for example. So these two are really the key necessary values that we are looking for. How do we get to facts in a better way as we progress, and how do we couple that with creativity? And the way we do that in the OriginTrail ecosystem is really in this synergy of DKG and NeuroWeb. Basically, DKG is your knowledge representation network, where you can plug in any type of graph database, for example. Amazon Neptune, we've seen today, is one of them. Neo4j, Ontotext GraphDB, you name it, you pick it. It's up to you to decide to take what kind of tool you want to use, what kind of representation. Ultimately, you get the ability to run these factual models using this symbolic AI engine. You get knowledge provenance embedded into the knowledge graph. And basically, when you use knowledge assets, though, that comes as a given. And finally, also what comes as a given is this ability to retain ownership and IP. So when you publish something, it's not just a piece of data on the web and anybody can just take it around. it's actually fingerprinted and it's stored there, registered, as if you basically went to register a patent. Now it's yours, so you can always point back to it. And many other tools we've seen being built by the ecosystem developers around IP, around storytelling. Super excited to have had you all folks here today, showing what you're doing. On the other side, NeuroWeb being really the ground for this creative neural side of the story, where we essentially have a community-run system that enables multimodal neural AI to coexist, to work together, using collective governance. So for you who don't maybe know, NeuroWeb is a blockchain on Polkadot, was presented today by Filippo, which has native decentralized democracy. So if you're part of the ecosystem, if you have the Neuro token, you're able to vote on any decision, any update, any decision on if a certain knowledge graph should be supported on the DKG or not, such as the SciGraph that is getting launched today. We get to decide as a community. So that means we also, as humans, we're in the loop. It's not the usual human in the loop thinking that is kind of common within the AI reinforcement learning community, which I have nothing against. It's actually wider. It's that plus making all the decisions and having it all be transparent so that we can actually contribute. Contrary to OpenAI, like Gary said, it's completely closed. You don't know what's going on. And yeah, I agree. Somebody today mentioned a really good point, which is they have kind of a model of you. They have the God mode, so they can literally ask, like, where do you live? Where are you now? I don't personally like to have some big companies that powerful that can just locate me like this on a planet. It doesn't sound empowering. It sounds completely opposite, disempowering. So we put humans in the loop in the right way, and it's all verifiable. All of the actions you can track on chain, the security that we have from Polkadot brings really an unprecedented level of strength to this system, but also scalability. Recently, for those of you who follow, NeuroWeb has actually scaled quite a bit, and we expect to also get quite a lot more when needed from Polkadot because it offers quite a lot of room for scaling chains. These two systems come together to form this collective neurosymbolic AI. Somebody wants to take over from here?
Yeah, I've been quiet. I guess I have to earn my space on the stage. Yeah. No, but it's. I was just kind of keeping track also as Branimir was explaining the combination also of like kind of the stuff that we've seen over the course of this day getting explained, and I sincerely hope that it opened up the thinking around what are the possibilities. So and also kind of the how to tackle certain shortfalls that we're seeing in the market today. And because these are the things that play into what the pillars of the vision that we're trying to pursue have to consist of. So the first one that you'll find up there is internet scale. And it's not just something that's like an aspirational thing about going for another record or beating like transaction per second against someone else or something like that. We're talking internet scale because that's a requirement for these challenges that we've seen to be adequately addressed. So if we don't come to internet scale, if this is going to be something that's just a particular thing in a particular industry, a particular niche or of sorts, then really it's not going after the challenges that AI and, or let's say call it better, internet in the age of AI is presenting to us. So if we want to have that protection of IP, if we want to have that protection of data, if we want to have those, the transparency of solutions getting deployed globally, we need that internet scale. So it's not something, again, that came out of thin air. It's something that we see as a requirement to usability at the end of the day. So that level of usability needs to be present if we want to support the use cases to really go after these big challenges. So the second pillar is it needs to be trusted. It comes from obviously the the inception of, back to 2017, like the level of trust that needs to exist in something that's a decentralized knowledge graph, and kind of going after the vision of really being the trusted layer for that connected data. It requires that trust to be inherently there because it's not centralized. So there's no single entity. You don't have to trust me. You go to the DKG, you see how it acted in the Omnicore. The storyteller is not just telling the story; it's grounded in the DKG. The SVB rail parts, as they're being exchanged, they're not just there, and you have to kind of lend that trust. No, it's verifiably there. So that neutrality lends itself to the trust that's required for this inclusive, basically, approach to deployment. And inclusivity is actually the third thing. What we need to do is we have to create an incentivizing collective neurosymbolic AI. So I think what Chris was mentioning, the saying, show me the incentives and I'll tell you the result. Or the outcome. I'll be able to point you to it. So if we want to go towards really pursuing the neurosymbolic AI in an inclusive way, so that it's collective, we need to be able to allow anyone to participating in creating that knowledge base. And at the same time, we need to have incentives to engage the different communities, which again, they'll find their own different elements, their different neighborhoods in the DKG, their different topics that they're finding themselves engaged about, whether that's DeSci or it's going to be something that we even can't muster today. But the point is that if there are tools for incentivizing the communities around then creating that collective knowledge base to fuel the neurosymbolic AI, that's a pillar upon which the vision can be created. So in essence, this is echoing the neutrality, usability, and inclusiveness values that have been present at the OriginTrail ecosystem since the inception, but they have been instrumentalized towards the pillars that can bring us to the vision. It's the internet scale, it's the trust, and it's in incentivizing the collective neurosymbolic AI. And let's take a trip down the memory lane, eh? It's like we're kind of going a couple of years back. The capabilities of the DKG weren't even close to what we're seeing today, which means that the use cases were limited to what we were able to do. And the thing is, you in this very odd metaphor, can't be skipping doors. You need to be going by one by one. So it needs to be a jump from 200 to 20,000 so that you learn how the network acts, what are the different challenges we're seeing right now. And you need the learnings that we've had over the course of this year, where we've seen significant jump in the capabilities of what we could do on the network already, because also the requirements are there. And you've seen plethora of different builders appear today. There's many more which haven't made it to the stage today that are engaged in creating incredibly cool stuff, some of which we are also involved with, and that are going towards that really internet scale kind of prism, some of which would also kind of are yet to be talking about in more details. But we're definitely knocking on those doors of 2025 with V8 coming up, with incredible new capabilities, up to 1000x or more scalability boost, which is again not just the boost for the sake of itself, but so that we all, as a community, can do more stuff. And that also calls for much more builders to be present in the ecosystem. This scalable platform allows much more stuff to start happening, and that's why I'm so kind of excited to see a lot of the things already in the inception phase happening today, and many more stories. I mean, if you go to any company almost that have been dabbling with AI in some shape or form, what usually you get a little bit is the initial fatigue, because they're kind of deflated a little bit with what they were able to achieve, because everyone thought it's going to be like this, snap of fingers, and now we're going to do everything's going to be brilliant, and everything's going to work out of the box, and you will just be, living in this utopia of technology. And the thing is, the path to this 100 million knocking on 2025 is much more based in the fact that we are able to take those fatigued people that have made and failed perhaps a little bit and show them a way where this can actually work. And they're like, oh my God, like this is actually, like we can deploy this. It's quick, it's like, okay. And I don't have to marry myself to one AI solution, like one LLM, whether that's Anthropic or it's OpenAI or it's something third, fourth. I can actually have that freedom to focus on my knowledge base and build that out and then attach different AI components to solve my different problems. Then again, they kind of get this renewed faith in that things can actually play out, and it's like you're solidified. So whoever's building on anything, I welcome you to not be afraid of going to the market. Start speaking to companies, because I don't think that you'll ever have a chance to have that level of like success ratio that you can have at this point in time, because you'll be ahead of the curve. You'll have something that works. We did tomorrow's workshop. You'll be equipped to do it, and that will all bring us to the internet scale of 100 million actually getting utilized in a fruitful manner and making the positive change. I took a bit longer stab at this slide, sorry.
What is 100 million per day?
Oh, per day. Yes, sorry. It was numbers which come second nature to us, but it's they were mentioned a few times over the course of presentations. It's resembling knowledge assets being published to the decentralized knowledge graph. So how much knowledge assets are getting added to the knowledge graph every single day? What's the capacity that we could do? And that was the progression that we've seen over the years. We started where the network couldn't handle a lot, but it could support the same value propositions in terms of being, sturdy, robust. The trust was there, the verifiability was there, and then we saw year over year different levels, different approaches to increasing the scalability, depending on what the bottlenecks, were. And as we've reached the 100K threshold, let's call it, in 2024, and all of this was enabled already by the existing V6 capability. So the 2022, you'll have the V5, the two doors in the middle, you'll have the V6, and the V8 is now really again coming as a force that really is bringing us to that goal of supporting anything that runs on the internet should be able to be mapped out to the DKG and supported by it. All right, Žiga, want to take this one? No?
Yeah.
Do you see it?
This one is easy. Is it a video? No.
It should play.
It should be video.
It might
Is there
be.
a video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's the video, yeah. No, we saw that video today, but if in case you haven't, look at it now. You have to. You must.
You must see.
So this is, we'll provide a little bit more context. The main point here being that anything that has been built within the OriginTrail ecosystem is open source, obviously. And the DKG Edge node right now in the beta phase, and this is actually a snapshot from one of the builders' dashboard. You listened to him before, James Brody, from the IDT pairnet. So this is how easy it is becoming to launch your own pair network and start publishing knowledge assets on the network. So this is one aspect besides the internet scale and inconsequential use of the decentralized knowledge graph. Why is this important? It is important so that builders outside just us as core builders can come in and they start building themselves decentralized businesses on top of the decentralized knowledge graph, either as pairnets or someone who's simply trying to solve certain problem within any realm, any sector, any industry. And one point important here, it is open source, and anyone can start using it. We have launched already the Inception program as a part of this V8 journey, which is also providing a level of support, also in terms of the support to publish and kind of go beyond this chasm, the cost chasm, which would perhaps for some builders be, let's say, a hindrance to start using the DKG within the V8 phase. So this DKG Edge node beta is going to be actually today, as of this moment on.
It's live, yes.
It's live.
Yes, so you can find it on.
And it's
the
available for
Yeah.
builders to start tinkering with it?
Yes, so you can go into the official docs. You'll find plenty of information over there, including all the repositories. If you've seen my talk today, I presented it's a bunch of services together running in one node. So there's, I believe, 6 repositories right now together, and you can just take it and customize it to your needs. It is a beta, so it might be a little bit tricky at the beginning, rough around the edges for the next couple of days. But if you do run into a problem, if you're building, let us know. Come to Discord. We'd be happy to fix it. Or even better, if you want to fix it, you can actually also participate in that part of that reward budget, because it's actually open. So anybody can come in and fix a bug or update the documentation to make it more clear or just simpler. But yeah, EdgeNode, basically, the one that we presented today, this is one of the first instances of it. So what you're seeing is, yeah, it's a little bit of a different color, different design, some customization, but you can just do the same for you. So I heard Sebastian from SkyOcean mention that he would take it and build an MVP very quickly. Heard other builders as well looking to build with it. So it's pretty much several years of testing and building different components that we've been using that we're just open sourcing and providing to the community. So from today on, you can start doing that with V8. And as you help us as core developers mature it, like I said, you'll also get rewarded. Fundamentally, the biggest reward comes from building on a DKG. And that means creating useful knowledge. That means creating pair-nets. So if you're looking to build something useful using neurosymbolic AI, you want to pick Amazon Neptune, you want to pick Anthropic, whatever you think makes sense, you can come and start building on the testnet right away and show traction and then apply for the inception programs. The ones who have the most traction will be, you can consider yourselves qualified for that budget, basically. So in a way, it's a way to raise support from the ecosystem directly, and this will again be voted in by all of these would be voted in on the NeuroWeb. So
if this is just the interface.
Yes.
Perhaps the rationale behind this that is becoming increasingly easy to start using the decentralized knowledge graph. And to the same extent as we have been able to implement and bring on users basically from corn to whatever sector, it is now becoming increasingly easy for anyone to start building businesses on top of the DKG. Yeah. So this is from the usability perspective. Okay, and one important piece which is most interesting to the builders is that it is becoming easy to build, and it is also becoming possible to be incentivized to build on top of the decentralized knowledge graph. One part of the story, of course, you all know how the DKG functions, at least those who have been tinkering with it. Track token itself has been used in a way as a gas token, not on a blockchain, but on a decentralized knowledge graph to cover the fees for the network, which is actually maintaining the knowledge that it carries. Network is then being also secured by staking, and stakers can come in and they support nodes, which are then responsible for maintaining overall security of the network. On the other hand, you have one of the most scalable blockchains, or people don't know much about it, but it is hands down the most useful blockchain for real-world adoption, as demonstrated by all the cool stuff that is going on, and also the transaction volumes, which are increasingly picking up. What is awesome about the NeuroWeb, which is not just, let's say, purpose-built chain for neurosymbolic AI and for real-world adoption, is that you can also launch autonomous pair networks, and the OriginTrail community also knows a lot about it. What is tied to the autonomous pair nets is also decentralized governance, because there is a community that needs to support the idea for any pair network to come to an existence, and it is up to the community to then decide on whether or not they're going to support the incentivized pair network. Once this incentivized pair network is confirmed, and if I'm not mistaken, another pair network is being confirmed today by the community.
So a vote is actually the first IPO, initial pairnet offering, is live for SciGraph, the one you've just seen. So I expect them to announce it any moment, but here I go, pre-announcement. So yeah, it's happening. You can contribute already.
So this is not that much of a news. What is the news, however, is that we wanted to make a step further in terms of instilling meritocracy to the building of the OriginTrail's future. So basically, we have gotten to the point where OriginTrail has demonstrated high levels of usability, and at the same time is also already a very, very strong network, not only in the sense of the technology, the code base, but also in terms of the community and the builders behind this community. So it only makes sense to instill new rules in terms of the future development of the OriginTrail, which is going to be based on this key premise or merit, which is those who use the decentralized knowledge graph, so those who are investing in producing knowledge on the decentralized knowledge graph, are going to be the ones who build the future, who maintain it, who propose new updates and actually are, let's say, incentivized, or they're covered in financial terms to maintain the development. And all of this is, of course, possible because, as prudent builders, we retained a large portion of the future development fund treasury, basically, to enable the development of the future within the OriginTrail ecosystem for quite some time into the future. So meritocracy. One important statement here is those who use it will build it. That's one part of it. And then there is also another thing important in the symbiosis between NeuroWeb and the DKG, is that the community will also have a say in which builders become eligible to build the future of the DKG. And this is going to be tied back to the PairNet and the community voting on supporting the pair networks to be then incentivized, and in turn, as these pair networks get built and grown on the DKG, as tracks gets invested into the growth of the decentralized knowledge graph, those builders who have invested are also going to be the ones to whom the future development fund or the treasury is going to be allocated. Now, more about the exact mechanics is going to be discussed in the future roadmap in the coming week. And also, as a part of the RFC, we're going to cover all those nitty-gritty details as to how the builders might also find, let's say, a little bit more, a little larger relevance also in terms of running nodes, as nodes are going to become, with the start of the V8, also a form for V8 for the publishers to finance their operations. And of course, all of this is going to be done hand in hand with the community, node runners and trace holders. Trace holders are the ones that are actually supporting and allocating their liquidity to different nodes. And this is also going to largely, let's say, determine which builders are actually the most eligible to be the future builders of the OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph.
So I think you have to click one more time, because it says...
Do you guys want to say anything in addition to that? I think it's...
I think you covered all the bases, man.
Yeah.
Everything beyond that's going to be RFC.
We can go skip and then go to the questions later, because I'm sure there are plenty. The main point here being is that we know exactly how to begin things, but we're not here to tell you how things are going to be how things are going to end. So the future largely depends on a little bit more crowdsourced wisdom, because this is about collective neurosymbolic AI. And we're not a collective, we're just a bunch of let's say friends that started this mission a while ago, and we were joined by the cool team and also later on by this cool community. And we wish, based on this meritocracy, for this only to be the beginning, and it is up to you to determine well where this will continue and where this will eventually, I wouldn't say end, but blossom even further into the future. Yeah, and this is from I think a very nice saying from Matrix, right?
From the
We're
Matrix.
gonna read it.
This
You
is
found it.
Neo. Yeah, perhaps before we read it, just so you know, it's like this is not like it sounds like we're like getting out. Like Trace Labs is not gonna be there anymore. No, absolutely. But it's time to basically get more folks involved and start building because we cannot build it on our own. And as Neo famously put it at the end of the Matrix, when he calls the Matrix on that payphone, he says, I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how it's going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. And I think there's a video that shows that. Let's try it.
I think we need a bass.
Is there voice sound?
I know you're out there.
Yeah.
I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.